Ancient megastructures are typically associated with vast armies of labor and early binding agents like mortar or mud to provide structural stability. However, a 2,500-year-old stone structure in Bihar, India, relies on a different set of engineering principles. This is the Cyclopean Wall of Rajgir. It stretches 40 kilometers across the terrain, built entirely from multi-ton boulders. These massive stones are stacked without a single drop of cement, mud, or mortar. There is no binding agent filling the gaps. The masonry is so precise that the gaps are virtually non-existent. A single sheet of paper cannot pass through the seams between these multi-ton blocks. This 40-kilometer structure remained standing through millennia of earthquakes and imperial wars without any chemical adhesive holding it together. In the 4th century BCE, the Magadha Empire transformed this region into an ancient superpower. They required a defense system capable of securing their capital against any invading force. Rajgir sat within a natural basin, surrounded by 5 mountains providing a ready-made defensive perimeter. Builders integrated the wall into these ridges, sealing the gaps between peaks to create a continuous, impenetrable shield. Constructing it required hauling irregular 5-ton boulders up steep, treacherous inclines without the use of modern machinery or cranes. The result was a masterful fusion of architecture and terrain, making the landscape a permanent fortification. The wall's stability is found in the mechanics of ancient dry stone masonry, where the absence of mortar is a calculated engineering choice. Instead of glue, the structure relies on the immense mass of the boulders. Gravity provides a constant downward force, creating lateral friction. These irregular polygonal stones interlock perfectly, with the upper stone's weight wedging the lower stones together, distributing pressure across the base. This design makes the wall more resilient than many modern structures. While a rigid cemented wall is prone to cracking during seismic activity, these stones possess a unique kinetic advantage. When the ground moves, the lack of mortar allows the stones to microshift and settle. They absorb and dissipate the seismic energy, moving with the tremor instead of snapping under the stress. The survival of the structure for 2,500 years is a direct result of this mechanical flexibility. This specific engineering technique was not a local secret confined to the Magadha Empire. Halfway across the world in ancient Greece, architectural remains show the exact same engineering signatures. Greek ruins utilize these same multi-ton, unmortared blocks to form massive defensive gateways and strategic choke points. The Greeks called this style Cyclopean, believing that only the mythical Cyclopes possessed the strength to manipulate such massive stones. Vastly separated ancient civilizations reached the exact same architectural conclusion, utilizing pure physics to solve the problem of long-term survival. The Cyclopean Wall of Rajgir stands as evidence of a highly sophisticated application of physics and natural adaptation by ancient builders.
All right, welcome back. Today, we're diving into some incredibly fascinating source material that uncovers a monumental 2,500-year-old mystery. And the craziest part? It's been hiding right out in the open in Bihar, India, this whole time.
I know. An anti-gravity wall sounds straight out of a science fiction movie, right? But today, we're really going to challenge your understanding of ancient engineering. We're looking at a true megastructure that relies on architectural secrets and dry stack masonry mastery that honestly still completely baffle modern experts.
Okay, let's dive into this. When we think of ancient engineering marvels, our minds immediately jump to the classics. The Great Wall of China, the Pyramids of Egypt. But this deep dive focuses on the Cyclopean Wall of Rajgir in Bihar. It's a hidden megastructure that's largely unknown on the global stage, but as you'll see, it is equally, if not more, astonishing.
Chapter 1, an ancient engineering anomaly. We are talking about a colossal stone puzzle spanning a massive 40 kilometers.
Moving right into Chapter 2, shielding the Magadha superpower, built way back in the 4th century BCE.
Now think about it. You don't just build a 40-kilometer stone fortress for decoration. You build it to protect something incredibly valuable. Magadha was literally the ultimate superpower of ancient India. This massive wall was constructed specifically as a gigantic, impenetrable shield to guard its bustling capital from invading armies.
And the geographical genius here is absolutely wild.
The ancient builders perfectly integrated this massive defensive perimeter with the 5 steep mountain ridges that naturally encircle Rajgir. They used that treacherous topography completely to their advantage, basically locking the entire empire away behind solid stone and towering peaks.
Which brings us to Chapter 3, the Zero Mortar Enigma and its absolutely flawless physics.
Now, what's really interesting about this next part is that this entire 40-kilometer stretch of multi-ton boulders is held together by an impossible triad: zero cement, zero mud, zero mortar. That's right, there is absolutely no adhesive of any kind tying these rocks together. The builders relied purely on flawless dry stack masonry and just gravity to lock everything perfectly into place.
To help you visualize just how perfectly these uneven boulders fit together, get this, the precision of the rock placement is so extreme that if you walk up to the wall today, you literally cannot even slip a tiny piece of paper or a thin card between the massive rocks. It is absolute, staggering perfection, achieved entirely by dry stacking, unyielding stone. It's like a giant 40-kilometer puzzle.
But of course, this leads to an incredible logistical question. These aren't small, easy-to-carry bricks. We are talking about massive 5-ton stones. So how in the world did ancient workers manage to haul these colossal boulders up steep mountain ridges roughly 2,500 years ago without a single crane, pulley, or modern machine?
Whatever their method was, this dry stone puzzle has passed the ultimate stress test. Relying entirely on precise fitting and gravity, it has survived brutal wars, outlasted the rise and fall of entire empires, and endured thousands of years of violent earthquakes. And it hasn't budged an inch.
Let's look at Chapter 4, Connections to Ancient Greece, and how this ties into a much wider global mystery.
So the crucial point is, why does this exact same bizarre engineering style perfectly match structures found halfway across the world in ancient Greece? It's actually the very reason it's called Cyclopean masonry. That's a term originally coined by the Greeks, who believed only mythical one-eyed Cyclopes had the sheer brute strength to move such massive boulders. The real question is, how did two completely disconnected ancient civilizations arrive at the exact same highly complex engineering technique?
And finally, Chapter 5, A Mystery Set in Stone.
As the source material notes, the full story here is wilder than you think. There are still so many secrets quietly disappearing into the jungle canopy, just waiting for archaeologists to uncover them. In fact, right now, there's a major modern push to secure UNESCO World Heritage recognition for this site, hoping to protect its forgotten history before it's lost forever. So, I'll leave you with this final, provocative thought. If human beings could master gravity and physics this perfectly 2,500 years ago, what other impossible technologies has history simply forgotten? The Cyclopean Wall of Rajgir absolutely proves the ancient world was far more capable than we realize. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the sources, and keep questioning the history we think we know.